Okay, so this is going to be a review of Up. This was on Sky Movies Anytime, and and being the movie's a Pixar movie, and it's also in the top 250s list on IMDb. I thought I might as well check it out, and yeah, I liked it obviously. For those of you who don't know the story, it's about it's about an old man. Like at first we see him as a kid, and then he grows old. We quickly see his life kind of flash by. So like that's the first 15 or maybe 20 minutes of the movie. It's like him growing up. So when he's an old man, his wife dies, he's like depressed. They're like building a city or something around his house, so basically he needs to move because they're gonna like evict him, so he decides, he's really depressed, and out of desperation he turns to his wife's final wishes. So their dreams, he and his wife, they were like this massive fan of this famous explorer or whatever. I can't quite remember. I think he's like a pilot or something, I don't know. I think he's an explorer, but whatever. Anyway, like they want to go to this place called Paradise Falls, which is like kind of like a bunch of cliffs. It's kind of hard to describe, but that was their final wish. Their dream was to live on top of like this, the Paradise Falls, which is kind of like this set of cliffs, like overseeing a jungle and stuff. Anyway, so the guy, he, if you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm on about. Like he attaches like a bunch of balloons to his house, and then, well, there you go. He's like on his journey to get to Paradise Falls, flying his house with like 1,000,000 balloons or whatever. And of course, this that Boy Scout guy, like this Boy Scout kid, gets caught on the house when it gets lifted off. So then, like, the kid's stuck with the guy. So that's basically the plot of the movie. The guy's trying to get his house to the top of Paradise Falls. And yeah, that's just basically the plot of the movie. And so yeah, I did like the movie, this is probably going to be a short review. I kind of want to make it as a quick review. I don't really have much to say other than it was a great movie. The acting was good. The environments that the movie was set in, they all looked really good. They were good to look at. The environment was just nice in general. I think this would be a great movie to watch on Blu-ray, because I just watched it on Sky Movies, on TV. But I think I'll probably get this movie on Blu-ray sometime, because I think it'll look nice on Blu-ray. It's just got nice environments and stuff. Like where it's set, like the jungle and Paradise Falls itself, it just all looks great, And even the house with the balloons, that looks great. And throughout the course of the movie, because it's kind of comes to a time limit situation where they have 3 days to get to Paradise Falls, because it's like the helium in the balloons is slowly running out. So as the film progresses, you have like some of the balloons begin to like, at first they're kind of obviously, they're floating upwards, but then they just, as they begin to run out of helium, they just kind of just go, limp and kind of just drop down. So like as the movie kind of progresses, like you have 1 or 2 more balloons constantly like starting to drop. So I just think they did well. I'm not quite sure what you would call that, maybe editing or maybe the directing, I don't know. But I just think they did a good job with selling the idea that they were running out of helium and the balloons one by one are like slowly going down. And the first 15 minutes where we are given the old man, I can't remember his name, but the first 15 minutes were actually really awesome as well. It comes by very quickly, but the guy's life, like, because we start off when he's a kid, and then it goes all the way up to when he's an old man after his wife's dead. So they basically tell his whole entire life up to when he becomes an old man in about 10 or 15 minutes. And it's done all without dialogue as well. You just have some musical score playing over, like a bunch of, it's just like a montage of his life basically, and it's like no dialogue, it's just some music playing, and we get to see like the important stages in his life. Like his wife gets pregnant, she loses the baby, she eventually dies, of course, and stuff like that. Yeah, I just think that little like sequence or montage, whatever you want to call it, that was great. One thing I didn't, the humour in this film was great. It's got some stuff for like adults and kids. This is like a great family movie, like Toy Story, something everyone will enjoy. With this, one Because like a lot of the jokes, some of the jokes kind of revolve around like a massive like group of dogs. Like there's a group of talking dogs in this film. You know, not getting into spoilers here, but I'm just saying there's a group of talking dogs in the film at some point, and you know they're quite an important part of the story, I would say. But some of the humour with the dogs, I didn't really like. Like the voice changer on the leader of the dog pack. That, you know, that got a laugh out of me, but like things to do like with the tennis ball. You know, the tennis ball joke, which was used a few times. I didn't really like that. Neither did I like the squirrel thing either. I thought that was really annoying. Nah, that, I guess it's a bit for the kids, I guess. But, I didn't like that joke though. Yeah, so one thing about this film, it generally has some touching moments, like really sad moments. So, you know, the film definitely gets points for that. Like some of the points, some of the, you know, parts of the movie were actually kind of inspiring, as well, you know, as well as being pretty depressing as well, you know, like especially when his wife dies. That's done really well, and well, that's kind of getting into spoilers, so I can't really say that. But you know, towards the end, you know, there's quite a few sad moments, so that's done really well. And having like this isn't a spoiler. Like you get as soon as they appear, this, you know, you pretty much find this out. But the dogs, like the group of dogs, they are the villains. Well, kind of the villains of the movie. There's like two villains. It's, you know, I'm trying not to give spoilers away, but it's not as if it's like some shock twist or anything of who is the villain. So you have the group of dogs, then you have like this other guy. Okay, yeah, we just have this other guy. I'm just gonna say that he's like the main bad guy, but then like the dogs are kind of his like minions, and he kind of, you know, manipulates them into doing what he wants them to do. And basically, the dogs being the villains, I just didn't really, you know, being some of the villains, like half of the villains, like the guy would be the other half. But the dogs as villains, I didn't really think was too, nah, I just didn't buy it. I just, you know, I'm not saying it's unrealistic or anything, I'm just saying I just didn't like the idea, end of story, of the dogs being the villains. Nah, I wasn't a fan of that idea. But I guess, you know, something for the kids, you know, I guess that's just something for the kids, I guess. And the idea of having a villain in the movie at all, I don't know, it was a, like, I'm kind of unsure about this, the idea of having a villain in this movie. I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not. Like the movie was great, you know, I still think it's an awesome movie. But like pretty much the time limit they have, you know, to get to Paradise Falls before the, you know, the helium runs out the balloons, that pretty much was kind of like, you know, the dangerous idea. Well, not dangerous, it's just, you know, that's what the guy wanted to do, and it would just be pretty depressing if he didn't make it. And you know, so that was kind of like the conflict, let's say, of the film. But instead they threw in like a villain as well. I wasn't too keen, you know, I guess, because it's not as if they could just have the whole entire film, the guy and the kid walking over to Paradise Falls with the house. Because, you know, they got to think of stuff to throw at the audience, some obstacles to throw at the guys. And otherwise, I guess they wouldn't be able to think of much stuff, so they had to introduce a villain role somewhere. So I guess I understand why they introduced the villain, so I guess I'm okay with it. But, you know, oh yeah, and this is another thing about the villain. Very rarely is there like a villain who is like pure evil. I mean, you know, you have like the villains which, you know, like just in movies in general, you have villains which are kind of, you know, they're kind of comedic, let's say, you know, they're like funny. Like you get Freddy Krueger, you know. But while he was supposed to be kind of scary, they, you know, they tried to make him dark in a few of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. But for example, you know, in their like future sequels, they kind of made him into like a, you know, he's throwing jokes and one-liners left and right. And, you know, he just becomes like a character for the audience to root for and stuff like that. And, you know, just like villains in general, like Dr. Hyder in the Human Centipede, he was one evil, you know, he was just evil and just completely, you know, psychotic. But the thing is, like, you kind of rooted for him as well because he was so crazy. It's just the sort of character you just root for because of how crazy he is. He's just so fun to watch. So the bad guy in this movie, it's one of few times where he's just simply evil. And you know, this is like a family movie. And this guy, he is just one evil motherfucker. Like, this guy. some of the things he did, I was just thinking this is like a bit too much for a family film. For example, there's one part, there's like this other like subplot about this bird the bad guy's trying to catch, and that's how he crosses paths with the main characters. But the main character, he's given a choice between trying to save the bird or save his house. Because the house, you know, he's trying to like free the bird from the net, and like the bad guy's like getting closer. And then, because the guy's house, like, you know, they build up, yeah, this is another thing, I'm trailing off here, but they did a good job of making you feel for like how much the main character felt for the house. Like, you know, he kind of treats the house as if it's, you know, his wife, because he and his wife built the house together. You know, they, you know, it's like part of their dream and stuff. So, you know, he's really close to the house, and that's why he was so determined, like, not to be evicted from it at the start of the movie. If you watch the movie, you know what I mean. So I think they did a good job at showing how, you know, close he was to the house. So if you understand that, if you haven't seen the film, because there's one point with a bad guy, he throws an oil lantern at the house and it catches on fire, and you know, the house starts burning down. I just thought that was like a really, really like dark moment where he starts burning down the house. Just like, you know, me describing this doesn't do it justice. If you've actually seen the film, you can kind of understand how close the main character feels towards the house. So, you know, the house burning down is going to be like a really painful moment for him. So they do a good job of making you feel how close they are towards the house. So when the bad guy throws the oil lantern at the house and it starts to burn down, you know, the main character's left with a choice to try and save, you know, stop the fire, stop the house from burning down, or to save the bird. I just thought that was pretty dark, just the act of him starting to burn down the house. I was just like, you know, I was like, damn, like this guy's one evil, you know, I was thinking this guy's one psycho, you know. And even towards the end, he gets an axe and he starts trying to like kill the main character with it. Like even that, I was thinking, as you know, for a kid, like, well, not kids movie, for a family movie, it's kind of dark. You know, like he's just trying to, you know, he's chasing after him inside this ship thing. He's chasing after him, like trying to cut him up with an axe. And like he's succeeded in killing a few other like visitors to Paradise Falls. Like he collects their like helmets or something and puts them on like a stand as his trophies, let's say. And even at the end, he's like chasing after the kid with a rifle and he's like trying to kill him with it. Like he barely misses the kid and like blows a hole in the wall. I was just thinking, you know, it's a bit dark for a family movie. Just this guy's one evil motherfucker, you know. It's just some of the stuff he does. I was thinking, you know, this might be a bit too far. It kind of reminds me of the moment. You ever see The Incredibles at the end where I think his name's Syndrome. You know, the bad guy in that. I think it's Syndrome. It's kind of like that because I thought the ending to The Incredibles was kind of dark for a family movie, because you know how Syndrome dies. Like he doesn't get defeated. He dies. You know, when his cape gets caught in the propellers of the, you know, plane and he just gets sucked in. You know, I always thought that was kind of violent, maybe a bit dark for you know, such a, you know, family movie. So it's kind of like with Up as well. It's just him burning down the house and like shooting at the kid and chasing the main character around with an axe and having killed the previous visitors. I was just thinking, you know, this is one evil dude, and he is a great bad guy as well, I'll say that. He's a great villain and he's kind of sympathetic. Like you can look at it in a way like he's spent years alone and obsessing with the bird, with the dogs being his only companions. So in that sense he's kind of sympathetic, but at the same time he is still like, you know, just a complete psychopath. So yeah, I thought it was quite dark as well, you know. That's pretty much all I have to talk about. Like I said, short review. I don't know what else I have to say really. The music in the film, it was pretty good, you know. Like it's not something I would just sit down and listen to, but I'm saying like it was good enough for me to notice, you know. The music was done well enough for me to actually, you know, kind of make a mental note of it in my head. So yeah, don't really have anything to say. That's just a little mini review, I guess, of Up. So yeah, I did like it. Not my favourite Pixar film. My favourite Pixar film will be The Incredibles. You know, the Toy Story trilogy. That's great, but I've just always preferred The Incredibles over anything they've ever done. Up is definitely one of their best movies, in my opinion. But yeah, it is a great movie, you know. It's good for all the family, you know. It doesn't matter how old you are. You'll enjoy it. It's got some great, you know, it's got some great laughs in it. So yeah, to sum it all up, you know, it has genuinely has some really touching moments and really like sad, depressing moments. Kind of inspiring as well towards the end. You know, with the theme, I guess you could say, and stuff like that. So that's done really well. You know, they showed the relationship between him and the house very well and how close he was to it. Yeah, the dogs, didn't like some of the jokes related to the dogs, but you know, the humour in the movie overall was pretty cool. I liked it. And the villain, he's one of the darkest villains I've ever seen. Like, he beats a lot of villains, like, out of the most of the horror films I've ever seen. Because this guy's just really brutal with what he does. Like I'll never get over that time. You know, the moment when he throws the oil lantern at the house and starts burning it down. You know, and then the main character is just like, oh shit, you know. And he's, well, you know, that's spoiler, so I'm not saying that part. But yeah, that's what I thought of the movie. Great movie, that's up, and yeah. Thanks for watching, bye.